Theresa is my cousin, and our moms are sisters, and she is our beauty expert here. So why don't you tell us about yourself, like what your job is, and also like, how you grew up, how you associate with being Latina, things like that.
Oh, yeah, I love being Latina. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you guys. I feel just it's such a privilege to be here with you. I've enjoyed your podcast and watching all of them. Oh my gosh, I die laughing. Is just the best thing, and I've been learning so much. So thank you for your content and just what you guys are doing here. Yeah, so I am a licensed esthetician and a professional makeup artist. I've been doing it now for about 20 years, and this is my career. This is like my fourth career. I started this when I was in my 40s. I did corporate America, I did nonprofit world, I did all those kinds of things, and then baby number three launched me into a whole new stratosphere of my career because I really, really wanted to be present. I really wanted to be present with my children. And, I have three children. And so that was a big part of what inspired me to think about what gave me the flexibility. And I went back to school. I went back to school and I became a licensed esthetician. And so currently I'm working at the office of a plastic surgeon. Prior to working with him, I managed a med spa. So I've had a little bit of experience in that field for a while. And this time around, when I went back after COVID and all of that, I decided that I really wanted to work for a plastic surgeon and learn more about the world from that perspective. From that perspective, and as far as the inspiration as a Latina being in this field, my mother was a hairdresser, and so was my father. My father, I mean, that's really how they met. My parents met in a hair salon in Manhattan, and so I was born in the Bronx, and we left the Bronx when I was, I think, like six. We left the Bronx and we moved to California. But we always came back to the Bronx or to Puerto Rico to visit family every summer. Like there was just always this pilgrimage just to be with family. And so early on, I spoke Spanglish, really. But I was in California for most of the time. And then my parents separated. And when they separated, I moved to Puerto Rico. And that was around high school. I was in high school already. And that was really where I felt at home. Because as a Latina, I was always the minority. Even when I was in California, growing up, I was in the Valley. I was probably one of a handful of people of color that were there. Everybody thought I was Mexican. And so, the only fight I ever got into was because this girl kept calling me a beaner. And I was just like, you need to stop. You need to,
Mhm.
because nobody knew what a Puerto Rican was in California. They just had no idea. And so I was always, odd man out. So that was really hard. That was really hard. I understand what it is to experience racism and prejudice. And that was a little bit of a challenge, but that's okay. That's fine. Right. So, and then when moved to Puerto Rico and my parents separated, my mom made it very clear, you're not going to beauty school because she was a beautician. And I thought I would consider it. She goes, no, you're going to college. So I did. I did what every good girl does, right? Listen to your parents. I went to college. I got my degree and, went into corporate America. Puerto Rico was paradise. Growing up there was paradise. I loved living there. I finally felt like I belonged. Well, it was a little hard too, because then I got there and now I was the gringa.
Yeah. You can't win.
So coming into a school where now everybody had been together since kindergarten, now I show up, the California girl who could barely speak Spanish. They
Yeah.
were mean. But college was good and I, did all of that. But getting into the world of wellness, let me rewind a little bit. My mother had a health food store in Puerto Rico, and that's really what got us through parochial school, because I went to parochial school, and college. So mom was pretty much a single mom. She really did it all on her own. She's really a remarkable, remarkable woman. And so I was always exposed to the importance of good nutrition, the importance of taking care of yourself, and we ate well. Like that's just kind of a thing with my mom. And she may have dementia, but I'm telling you, she walks around like the Energizer Bunny. Like She is up and down. She gets her 10,000 steps like nobody's business. She's just remarkable that way. So it does pay off, you know, it does really pay off. So that's kind of how my trajectory into now being in the world of beauty. I love what I do as a makeup artist, and then also in the world of aesthetics and skincare. So yeah, that's what that's what I'm doing now.
Nice.
Yeah.
You were
So,
also in a beauty pageant.
yeah.
She was
Oh,
also in a
yeah.
beauty pageant for Miss
Right.
Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah. So it was for the title of Miss Puerto Rico to compete for Miss World. Yeah. So I was Miss Sanghinmang, and that was 1985. I was 19 years old, and yeah, I was a finalist. I did okay.
So with all these brands out there with claiming like
Mhm.
clean ingredients and success at diminishing rate, there's tons on the market.
Yes.
There's, expensive as heck. And then, you got your pharmacy grade, CVS type. But which have you found, or which do you think are brands that are truly worth the investment, or which are way too hyped? Or what about the affordable ones? Because I've
Mhm.
tried there, and then I've tried like things off Instagram.
So here's the thing about products. There are many products out there. First of all, there's so much noise when it comes to the world of skincare. Products are constantly coming out, constantly trending, all of that. The most important thing when you're looking at a product is the effectiveness of the ingredients that are in the product. Does the product have the amount necessary of that active ingredient to address the issue that you're trying to address? So one product is not going to do everything every time. I think we want these kinds of shortcuts. When you're thinking about a particular area of concern, then you need to look at, so how much of an ingredient, let's say, for example, a vitamin C serum. Everybody, every woman, every man should be using a brightening vitamin C serum, because what that does is it helps to stimulate the kind of cellular turnover of the skin, as well as to brighten, address any hyperpigmentation, those kinds of things. But you need encapsulated vitamin C at 10 to 15% in order for it to be effective. So you'll see products all out there that say it has vitamin C, vitamin C, L-ascorbic acid, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's so minuscule that you would have to use X number of bottles to even get the effectiveness of that product. So when you're thinking about a concern, that's what you really need to be looking at, is the ingredients that are in the product. And you can find products that are very affordable that do have that. It's like for example, at my practice, we have SkinCeuticals, we have Elastin, and we have Skin Better. What I love about them is that they're all backed by science. They have product integrity, and the formulations are stable. That's the other thing. You have to keep in mind that the moment you open a bottle, now you're exposing it to oxidation, you're exposing it to bacteria, you're exposing it, to in the environment. Will the product remain stable? So the way that it's packaged and the ingredients that are in it are very, very important. So, for example, you have SkinCeuticals with a great C, but there's another product like La Roche-Posay or ROC. You see them a lot. Those are formulated really well and they're packaged really well. But again, you need to read, does it have the ingredients that I need to address whatever that is? Hyperpigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles, dehydration, those kinds of things. So, you know, I think that's really what you're wanting to look at, are those components to a product. I love The Ordinary. They have some stuff that's really, really great. Would I buy a $40 lip balm? No, I'm going to use Aquaphor.
That my 14-year-old son just asked me to get him products from The Ordinary because he talks to his girlfriends from
Yeah.
school and they're all tight and they recommend hair products and skin products. My older son has his own routine and my younger son is like, "Mom, can you get me The Ordinary?" I had no idea what that was, but interesting. So I just had to chime in with that one because I'm like, "Oh, Theresa, it stands by it. That's a good thing."
It is. They have some of their stuff is really good and some of it is just kind of okay. But it really depends what it is that you're trying to address, right? Like La Mer. Let's use La Mer as an example. I mean, how much that thing was like 200 and something dollars. Roche-Posay has a triple moisturizer that is exquisite for 30 and it's phenomenal, right?
Mhm.
It has the niacinamide, it has, the glycerin and hyaluronic acid. These are ingredients that you want to be, that benefit your skin and keeping it hydrated, moist, and address fine lines, wrinkles, that kind of a thing. So you don't have to spend that much, but, to really get the effective yeah, 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 yeah. And I think you want products that have a few, there's a few basic ingredients that you really want to have within your skincare routine. And that is that vitamin C serum in the morning. You really want a good vitamin C serum. You want a product that has the peptides and ceramides, right? Because these are antioxidants to help protect your skin from the environmental pollutants. And a lot of times, a lot of products will have them all incorporated inside. You want your hyaluronic acid that keeps your skin nice and hydrated, and these are things that I've used along the way. Like at my age now, 59, I haven't done any Botox. I haven't done fillers. I haven't done anything like that. I simply stick to products that have the right efficacy of the ingredients in the product, and I use them consistently. That's the other thing. It's never one and done. Need to use, it's consistency over intensity. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about for this turkey neck here? It's like little wrinkled because I lost weight and I'm also
Yeah, yeah. So this is a collagen issue, right? And there's several ways to address it. All right. So what we have is a loss of collagen and elasticity. So hydration, like all the creams that you see out there, address the first thing, which is hydration, because that's so important. We should be not only drinking water, but you need electrolytes. People don't realize how important it is to, make your water efficient and that your body really absorbs it, right? So water with electrolytes, but hydration topically. There are products that help with things like fine lines and all of that. The next thing is your retinol. Do you use a retinol?
I haven't been consistent. Like you said, that's key. I've used it in products and then I've gone away from the product and I haven't used any.
So the product that's going to effectively address the laxity of the skin is going to be your retinol. And you want a retinol. Retinols are in different degrees. So you can start off at a 0.3, but ideally you want like a 0.5 or a 1%. That's really the level of retinol that you want. And you start off slow with it because it can dry the skin. You can maybe experience a little bit of irritation like I do at first. I can experience a little bit of irritation. So you maybe start off twice a week and then you go into 3 times a week. But you want that on your neck all the time. Like for you want, so you apply it's at night, you apply your retinol at night, and then you apply your moisturizer. Whatever those moisturizers are, use them up. Take it to the neck, take it to the décolleté, right? Take it to these arms, right in here. Okay. You want to address that crepiness that we can get underneath the arms. So you take that all the way down and your face too, right? So the retinol is the next most effective thing for the loss of laxity of the face of the neck, right? The next thing okay, so if that's really not working for you, but it will, but it just takes that consistency, right? Is the retinol, is microneedling. You guys familiar
I got
with
it. I got it done. I loved it. Loved
tell
it.
me, tell me, how was your experience with the microneedling?
But even people noticed that knew me. I did 3 treatments.
Mhm.
My cousin's an esthetician, so I asked her, like, "What do you recommend for cellular rejuvenation, whatnot,
Yep.
aging?" And she's like, "Mel, just stay away from X, Y, and Z. Do
Mhm.
microneedling." I listened to her, and I did
Yep.
that. They recommended 3 treatments, and I feel
That's
like
right.
it felt like I was new, my face like, I was very especially with grief, with what I've been through, I
Mm.
felt like I was looking dry and haggard in a little
Yep.
in a way, like
Yep.
dull, like dry and dull, and then on top of, the in my opinion, the inside reflects the outside reflects the
Mhm.
inside, right? So,
Yes.
around that time, I started to be more, my routines and whatnot, and so she recommended it, and I felt, like, shinier. I felt
Yes.
like rejuvenated in how I
Yes.
looked. And
Yes.
I just liked it. I mean, so far so good. And the
Yes.
esthetician said I don't have to come back for another year if I want to do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. So what microneedling is, it's an FDA approved treatment. So you want to have the right equipment. So make sure that your practice has the right equipment. What microneedling does is that it creates a micro injury. It's a series of needles. First, you cleanse the skin, you numb the skin, right? Face and the neck. And these micro injuries stimulate the production of collagen and fibroblasts. That is another reason why, because this is collagen, the loss of elasticity. So now what we do is we're creating those micro injuries, collagen rises, fibroblasts rise, and fills up the skin, right? So, fills up the fine lines, fills up the deeper lines, as well as exfoliate the surface of the skin. So that's where you experience, like you're saying, Mel, the brightness. It turns the skin over, it accelerates the cellular turnover, and there's very little downtime. At first, you kind of look like maybe you got like a little sunburn for the first maybe 24, 48 hours. That shouldn't last much longer. I don't know for you how long it
Yeah. Yeah,
lasted.
about less than 24 hours I was
Yeah.
red, basically.
Okay. And then it goes away. And then you continue to apply. They give you some serums. I give my client some serums. And then now it's maintenance. So the maintenance is, again, we go back to those retinols, we go back to moisturizing and sunscreen. Sunscreen, so, 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 so important, right? And those treatments are every 4 weeks. So you get a series of 3 treatments. What you want to do with each one of those treatments is go through a cycle of skin rejuvenation. Our skin turns over every 24, depending on your age, to about 41 days, your skin turns over. So you want to hit it once, you want to hit it twice, you want to hit it a third time. So you want to hit those different rotations. And, usually it's like the 11s, they start to disappear, these little lines up in here. I mean, it just really rejuvenates the skin and it tightens it. So, you just let your esthetician know, I really want to focus more on the neck. And you can do that. So that helps a lot. The next thing after that, if you wanted to do something, now we're talking more about radio frequency, which is red light therapy,
Mhm.
which is really helpful as well. And you can combine those two. You can do the microneedling and then you can get one of those really great masks. Or I really recommend just kind of getting your own if you really
Okay,
want
that
to
was another
invest in
question.
it. Yeah, yeah. Get one. And they have it also for the neck. And that is really nice. That also rejuvenates the skin. And then really the final step, if necessary, is a neck lift. Now, you go from, as far as the price point, that kind of changes. Like at our practice, 3 treatments of microneedling run at about $1,200
Mhm.
for that. The light therapy, around the same thing. If you get like Thermage or if you get Morpheus 8, those treatments, each one of them is about $1,500. And then now you get into more of a neck lift. Now you're looking at more like 6,000, 8,000, depending if you need liposuction or whatever. But I mean, I've seen some neck lifts that are remarkable, like it's really, really nice. But down the line, you know what I mean? Like if you're really, really wanting to just like snatch it all, then.
I had Cabela done once,
Hmm.
and I never went back because then I lost weight, but that will just get rid of the fat
Yes. So
and
Cabela.
not the laxity, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
That addresses more the fat deposits, like somebody it's like a double chin or, something like that. But then now you have the loose skin, right? So that's the only thing about it. So if you're going to do a treatment like that, you really want more like the Thermage. The Thermage really does like the tightening. It's,
Mm.
you know,
Mhm.
Thermage or
Okay.
Morph are the ones that really work the best for something like that. And that's, all of that is really true for the whole face too. But, there's kind of levels that from a less invasive to a more invasive treatment,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'm definitely gonna take that advice.
Phenomenal. Microneedling is really, really great. I think
I
that's
love
going to
it.
be the next thing. I haven't done it yet either, but I'm really starting, just to like the lines in here and a little bit in here before I do
Yeah.
a Botox or something like that. I'm holding off as long as I
Yeah,
can.
I've done the Botox for here because I've had it for so long. So just here,
Yeah.
but I think I'm going to start doing the microneedling. I like the Botox, but I think as an overall,
Mm-hmm.
because
Just
it's
to
just here.
rejuvenate everything. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. And that was another question I had. Like, you're sitting in this spas or you're whatever, and you see all of these like dermabrasion, PRP, chemical peel, LED therapy, hydrofacials, these diamond facials. Like, it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it really comes down to what do you want to address, right? Microdermabrasion, the diamond microdermabrasion, all of those are accelerated exfoliants. That's ideal for someone who has very dull skin, very textured skin, maybe a lot of acne scarring, right? So now what we want to do is we really want to accelerate the exfoliation process. But your retinol does that too, so even if you do microdermabrasion, you still need the maintenance of a good retinol to continue that cellular rejuvenation. And so, but it's a more aggressive, right? It's a more aggressive exfoliation. When you have those other treatment, again, it just really depends what it is that you're trying to address. Like IPL, I think you mentioned IPL. IPL, intense pulse light treatment, is perfect for someone who has, sun damage. However, as a Latina, we're not necessarily good candidates. Maybe Samantha. Because she's so fair. But like myself, I can't do IPL because it exasperates my hyperpigmentation because I have melasma.
Mhm.
So, IPL pulls the melanin up, right, to get rid of it so that it gets sloughed away. So it gets rid of the sun damage and the sunspots. But for me, it just makes it darker. So I can't do IPL. And that's important that your esthetician really asks the questions. As a Latina, you really need to make sure that they know how to work with a woman of color because we are different than other clients, light-skinned clients. It matters. It makes a big difference.
I have a question around microneedling versus chemical peel. What is the difference between? I know microneedling is the cell rejuvenation, but what does the chemical peel do?
So, the chemical peel is exfoliation on steroids, right?
Okay.
Now, what we're doing is we're removing layers of skin.
Mm.
You will experience a full face, your face peels completely. So there's more downtime. You need to plan at least a good 7 to 10 days of going through the process of shedding that skin because that's what the peel is doing. The peel is removing the stratus, right? Parts of the epidermis to get down into the dermis to get all new skin very, very quickly. Microneedling is a little less invasive. What microneedling will do is it's ideal for someone like with acne scarring because it breaks up the tension. Because what happens is with acne scarring, the skin goes like this. It gets tight, right? It gets tight, or the wrinkles, your skin is tight. Microneedling breaks all that up. The chemical peel will too, but the chemical peel just kind of wipes it out like a tsunami, if you can imagine, right? So that's kind of the difference of the peel. You need to give yourself some time, but I'll tell you, wow, when you're done with it, your skin is just like a baby's butt, you know? But you got to be ready to, like your skin's peeling off,
Wow.
Yeah, I knew someone who did it. It's not pretty. The couple days after,
Did
just
you
the way that
see?
it comes off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot, very, very flaky. Yeah. It's just, so I would say 7 to 10 days, right?
Mhm.
7 to 10 days and really great aftercare. Really, you have to really, really take care of yourself. And sunscreen is so important, ladies. I can't tell you how important. The sun damage is, I wear a hat like the size of a sombrero when I go out in the pool. I'm just like this with
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
you know.
I was
Inside
thinking
joke.
Where did
that.
she
I knew
go?
you were. I knew you were.
We have an inside joke from our Italy trip.
First of all, I don't know why I recommend cartoon characters for people, but I do this all the time.
Yes.
And we were on a boat this beautiful day on a boat, and we get in the water and we had to wear the goggles.
Right.
In the
And
middle of the sea, I forgot what's Mediterranean Sea.
Mediterranean Sea. So we all jump off the boat or whatever, and we look back, and our friend who wears a big, huge,
The hat.
The
hat
whole time,
the whole trip,
anything and everything we did.
she gets in the water with the goggles and the big hat on.
Okay.
And we all start laughing, and they're like, "You look like Zorro." And then I'm like, "No, she looks like Darkwing Duck." And that's like a cartoon character when we were little that was short lived. So we had
Yes.
to look up the character because nobody could remember but
Uh-huh.
me. And then when we looked at it, it was hilarious.
Wear that sunscreen, ladies. A good mineral-based sunscreen, 30 minimum,
Mm-hmm.
50 ideally, you know.
What about all those, like on Instagram and whatever, you see people doing face yoga and gua sha and all
Yes.
that other stuff or whatever?
Yes.
Like, are those even effective?
Yes. Gua sha is very, very effective. I do gua sha almost every single day. And the reason for that is gua sha helps to reduce the puffiness and the fluid accumulation in our bodies. Okay. So, and I just incorporate it into the time that I'm putting on my products. As I'm putting on my products, I'm doing the gua sha movements. I also have a gua sha tool that helps to also move all of those fluids out of the face because we hold a lot of tension here. We hold a lot of tension right here. That's where you get all those wrinkles. That's where you get the jowls. That's where you get the lines. That's where you get all of this is tension. When you take a gua sha, you break up the tension that's in the forehead and you take it up. I even take it up into here and I get into my scalp because we hold a lot of tension in the scalp as well. So gua sha is really, really effective. And like for the puffiness around the eyes, this in here, I mean, I am in here all the time, bringing this down into those lymphatic areas and getting rid of the puffiness. So gua sha, I think, is a must. And you can do it with your hands or you can do it with a tool. And so that is really, really an effective.
Just making it a routine every night.
Absolutely. Or just like when you're putting on your moisturizer, get in there, like put it on, but like use that as the glide. Sometimes I'll take like my facial oil, and like when I'm home on the weekends and I'm not wearing makeup, I'll do my jojoba oil, cause you guys know I love to make my oils, right? So I do my jojoba oil and I'll mix it with a little sweet almond oil. And I'll do that with the gua sha at night. I'm that castor oil girl. I get that castor oil with my frankincense and I put it on and I put it on my face and I just lie in my bed and I just massage my face. And I massage my face and I wake up in the morning and my skin is nice and tight. So I think gua sha is really underutilized. It's an underutilized modality. I'll send you, you can even Google it. You can Google it. But I can definitely send you guys just some little tidbits for that. And I brought my little gua sha thing at like Sephora. It's like a tiger eye. I have, I like to use the crystal ones at the same time. I just feel like I love the energy of the tiger eye. I love the energy of quartz. And so I use that. I also use gua sha for my body. I have the big paddle and, I do my arms and I do my belly and I do my legs and I just kind of keep that circulation because we, again, accumulate a lot of fluid in our knees and our knees get all crepey and, we accumulate a lot of fluid here in the center of our bodies. We just move that. And I'm like literally creating a waist, girl. I'm like,
Yeah. Is that
yeah.
long bar? Is it the bar?
It's
Like a bar?
not a bar. It's like a paddle. It's like it's a
paddle.
paddle. Yeah. And it
Similar to the face one,
yeah, but
but
mine
bigger.
it's wood. Yeah,
Okay.
it's wood. It's just a little bigger. And I don't do that as regularly, but I get out of the shower and I put on my moisturizer on my body and I just, when I have a little bit of me time, I, do the gua sha on my legs because we have lymphatic points behind our knees, in our groin, in our belly, right up in here. We have them in our armpits, right in here, right here, right here, right here, right? So these are all points because the lymphatic system doesn't have muscle. So you have to move the fluid out.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
also going against gravity, so it needs assistance. Yeah.
It needs assistance. Exactly. So you know
Mhm.
that, and so I think gua sha is really, really the way to go. I feel like that has formed my face,
Nice.
has allowed me to really maintain, some structure to my face because this starts to go really quickly for women, right? In here,
Mm-hmm.
the puffiness around the eyes, that kind of thing. This up here, the forehead, I
Mhm.
just like iron it.
You look so good, Therese.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
I have a question. Where's the line? Okay, let's have some real talk right now, like around the emotional aspect and the reflection of what's going on within a person.
Mhm.
What is your opinion on, with your experience, on where's the line of these procedures, these facials, these even Botox, or even just even further, going further,
Mhm.
to someone who's constantly trying to enhance because we want to age gracefully and
Gracefully.
want some help, like me, or like Susanna and me are talking about, or versus someone who keeps doing, or started young because it's like, I need to be perfect, there's like an inner subconscious dialogue that happens,
Sure.
right? And they keep doing every procedure over, or anything new that comes out,
Yeah.
and there's no work being done within. What is your experience with that or
Yeah.
opinion?
I see it every day, right? I see it all the time. Self-care is very important, right? Self-care is really, really key. And there's a balance, right? It's striking that balance. The challenge that we face as women, especially, is the noise, social media, magazines, everything. Every time I get like a makeup client and I always ask them for send me pictures of inspiration. Like what would you like? I can't tell you how many times I get a picture of Kim Kardashian.
Girl,
Really?
I
look.
would
Real.
say
Yeah,
6
she.
out of 10 times.
Yeah, God.
And I have to tell them, first of all, I'm always kind, of course, you know what I mean? I always have to remind them, keep in mind, all of these pictures have filters and they have been completely photoshopped. Let's just start there. Now share with me, what is it about this picture that you really like? Because we're going to do makeup. Let's focus on the makeup. And when I have that conversation, I'm able to separate the emotion of that person, because separate sometimes almost the insecurity, right? Separate this feeling of not being good enough. That is a huge issue with women in particular. And I think men have it too, where they just don't feel good enough. So that's the spiritual part, right? That's the spiritual part that they're feeling. And so my role in that moment is to elevate their greatest features, to elevate that emotion by focusing on their greatest features, focusing on giving them that luminosity and focusing in on helping them feel like the most beautiful version of themselves. And I think when we approach our personal care and we look at ourselves in the mirror, what can I do to be the best version of myself with what I have? And I think that is the conversation, that we need to have as we look at our reflection, because comparison is the thief of joy. When we start comparing ourselves to what we see on television, what we see on magazines, and all this Photoshop nonsense and all the filters, like all my pictures of my clients, I do not use filters. When you go on my page or whatever, I do not use filters because I really want people to see their true self, right? So when a client even comes in for like a treatment, I always stop and I look at them and I ask them, what's your favorite thing about yourself? And that's what I focus in on. We're going to enhance that. We're going to elevate that. And so, it's just so unfortunate that we are just attacked, really. Like as women, we're just made to feel that we are just never good enough, young enough, pretty enough, any of those things, when in fact we truly are. If we can just dial in to what it is that we love the most about ourselves and focus in on that, and one thing at a time. not get overwhelmed. And so it's right. It's a personal, spiritual,
Mhm.
it's a spiritual thing. But at the same time, it's really taking a moment to acknowledge our individual beauty.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with a procedure that just because I haven't done Botox is not that I'm against it, right? I'm just trying to, I'm playing with time right now.
Mhm.
I'm just like, how long can I put this off? Like,
Yeah.
like, there's no rush here. I know it's available to me, but what can I do? What can I
Mhm.
do? I think the most important things for women, I said, is hydration, rest, exercise, and an anti-inflammatory diet. But nobody really wants to hear that. They just want that quick fix because it's available out there. But even if you do your quick fix and you do your Botox and you do your fillers and you do your lift and you do your treatments, if you don't have the right aftercare, you're just back at square one. So it's
Mhm.
so important that lifestyle matches your desires. And that's what I tell my clients, when they come in, as well as when it comes to even makeup or even when it comes to, to skincare. So as far as the ones that just can't stop, there's some dysmorphia. People experience that. I think they just have trauma, in their lives and they really have a difficult time um, feeling comfortable in their skin. And so it's important that you work with someone that has empathy and ask good questions and listens to help to soothe that. Sometimes I feel like I'm a therapist. When a person sits in my chair, I go like this, and I put my hands on their face and I just feel their face and you can just see their shoulders just drop, you know? And it's about bringing that person to just kind of a grounded state because there's just so much angst about the aging process and about, whatever it is that they're going through, whether it's grief, whether it's a divorce, whether it's dating, whether it's the children at home, whether it's a health issue, all of those things play a role in how we look and feel about ourselves. So it's not a one size fits all. And, not every esthetician and not every doctor is going to take the moment to really listen to what it is that you really need. So finding the right person to work with, I think is just as important as the treatment that you choose for yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense.
So if you're a person that's masking with all these procedures and going, it's obviously a deeper issue, like you're stating,
Yeah,
utilizing these things almost like a drug, right? Because
sure.
numbing isn't just drugs and food and drugs,
Hmm.
food,
Hmm.
anything that can make you feel better for the moment, that instant gratification. But yet,
Yes.
like you said, if you don't continue other things and if you don't
Hmm.
incorporate other things, it's not going to be sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
You're chasing,
Exactly.
you're chasing just
Yeah.
like chasing that high.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's finding those simple, sustainable routines that elevate your wellness. And I think if we could look at beauty as wellness, we would approach it a little bit differently. That's why I say look at the ingredients, find out what is the amount of niacinamide that I need? What kind of a peptide does my skin need? Because each one of us here has a different routine. There's some basic fundamentals that we all have this need, but even within that, you know, the retinol, you might need a 0.3 or you might need a 0.5. I probably need a 1. So again, it could be different for each and every one of us, but it's so important to identify what that is and make it simple and sustainable so we can keep doing it because it's consistency, not intensity, wins the, you know, wins the race kind of thing. So creating those really good habits for yourself. But
No, my microneedling person is in Philly, so I could just go to you. No, I like my accent too. I'll say. But yeah,
yeah,
I go to Philly because I'm in Central Jersey, so I just drive an hour. Some other research that I have done, and I really like her. So I mean, yeah, it is important. And she comes out of the session. We're like, we just had a therapy session. She'll say because I'm a therapist, but then she'll listen to me too. So she'll be like, so what happened about? So we just talk the whole hour.
To wrap this up, what would be like your kind of spiritual advice for someone's relationship with their own vanity? I know you
mm,
touched on it a little bit, but we're talking about beauty. We're also talking about our own inner vanity of, wanting to have pride or admiration in our appearance.
Yeah.
But for me, that's also a spiritual thing because, from what I mean by that is like when I meet somebody, if they're an attractive person, but their personality is ugly, they're
Yeah.
less attractive.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody maybe average looking, but they're such a sweetheart and
Yeah.
the connection is there and you just see them as a beautiful person.
Yes.
And I think, spiritually, how would that kind of,
Yeah. I think Mel, you said something earlier that outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside, right?
Mhm,
And so vanity, there's this little fine line with vanity. And that's why I feel like if we can see beauty as wellness versus this constant pursuit of an image of something that's out there, if we can see it as wellness, I think it allows us to go in a little bit more and be able to be like, I want the outside to reflect how I feel on the inside. So when we feel healthy and strong and vitality and endurance, all of those kinds of things, it starts to just naturally show up on the outside. You can't you can't fake it. You can't fake vitality. You can't fake endurance. You can't and fake stamina. Really can't. You can pretend for a moment, but it's not a sustainable thing. And so I think it really does come down to, not being afraid. I think, not being afraid to be beautiful. I mean, that's the other thing is that I feel like there's these kind of two extremes. You have the women that will just do all these things and all these things and all these things. Then you have the women do nothing. They're like, I'm just not going to do anything because it just doesn't matter. And you just need to like me just the way that I am. Right.
Mhm.
I've seen it. I've seen that as well. So it really it's so important to just find that space where you go, I want to feel like the best version of myself, and that again, beauty is wellness. And, and hey, listen, there's times where I just really want to doll it up and I want to walk into a room and I want to take everybody's breath away. So watch out because I'm coming, so I know what to do if I need to do that.
A game every once in a while.
Mhm.
I'm like, there's levels to it. Come in with the confidence and people feel that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a combination of that, right? It's like you said, it's that confidence that kind of just exudes when you come in. And so, yeah, I do a little extra of the things that I would normally do, but I wouldn't say that that's, like all the time.
Right.
But
So
yeah,
give us one thing to look forward to in our 50s because we talked about eras and we went up to the 40s, but
Sam
now
conked out in the
that we're all
40s.
turning 50, oh my
yeah.
God. 40s turned left. Tell us 50s goes right.
Like 50s are really fabulous. It really, really is. I'll tell you, for me, my 50s has been a time of, my 40s was the letting go, right? Not given a rip kind of thing. Like I'm just done. Now my 50s has just been more of like going in, just going in and acknowledging, embracing my gifts,
Mhm.
seeing what I've accomplished in my life. Like, I'm just so proud of my family. I'm so proud of my children, where I've gotten to, like in my marriage. Like, my 50s has been this kind of like an observation of all of the efforts that I've just put in through all of those decades. And now it's kind of like digging in my heels. What do I want my life to look like in my 70s and 80s? And so what I'm doing now as I am finishing my 50s is more of like how to move forward into those later years with that same endurance and vitality, And so 50s has just been amazing. I mean, I love the skin that I'm in, I love the career that I'm in. And so there's something about fulfillment. There's a fulfillment that happens, in your 50s. And it's really a great time. It really is a great time. However, it really is another moment where your body starts to change a lot. And so you have to be much more intentional. Youth is forgiving. Now, everything that you do, everything that you eat, people that you spend time with energetically, it matters.
Mm-hmm.
It matters more than ever. And so you have to protect your energy and you need to be very intentional and very selective. So,
Yes. Yes, and yes, and yes, and yes.
Well, too, you look at the like I look at the stores and the men's section for skincare is like
This
this,
big.
and then the women's section is like
An
Yeah.
aisle.
aisles. Like,
Yeah.
and I know men are simple creatures, and they just like, I just need to wash my face and put a
Mhm.
moisturizer on, and they don't care. Some do. My
Yeah.
husband too. He has like 3 or 4 things that he puts on his face.
You know, like even for men, they need a good cleanser, you know, like what I do is I put it in the shower for my boys, you know, like I just have in the shower. When you take your shower, clean your skin. Like, you know, that's a gentle exfoliator. It's in the shower. So every time you wash your hair, da da da, do a little gentle exfoliator. Then you have your moisturizer, right? And then and then the moisturizer with the sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
They need like multitaskers, right? I mean, I have that too. So the moisturizer with a really good sunscreen to protect the skin. And recently, and every now and then, I'll throw in a treatment in there for Steve. Like I'll throw in like, you know, my Nerium. I still use Nerium, right? So I have like a Nerium there for him. You know, you need to start doing this again. Or I'll put, you know, something that I bring from, you know, SkinCeuticals that has niacinamide and some peptides and da da da. And I just say, if you just put this on your face like twice a week, it's going to make a big difference because men start getting big pores and just texture. They get texture. And so, you know, just to kind of address that. But I think guys like 3 things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, we could just get them to do like 3 things.
Especially with all the beards and the skin under the beards, and my husband gets all dry, very
Yeah.
dry. Yeah.
And they have to get in there, like get
Yep.
into you know, I have to tell Maximus that too. Like when you do your moisturizer, get into your beard. It'll also hydrate this hair of the beard.
Has like a beard wash, and then he has a beard balm, and then he brushes
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and he goes to the barber so that it gets shaped up like
Nice. Look at
every
him.
2 weeks. Yeah.
He's fancy.
And it's $25. He's like, "All right, go to the barber, $25." They
Perfect.
just shape it up every 2 weeks, and I'm like, who are you looking good for?"
For
You.
you,
And
baby.
he's like, "I wanna look good."
He wants to look good for you, honey.
Yeah. No, I just tease him.